I was named Chief Compliance Officer for the company at the end of 2014. And Randall Stevenson, our CEO, called me into his office, and he said, "Listen, I want to make you or name you to this position, and here's what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to figure out exactly what we need in a compliance program." We had a compliance program, but he wanted me to take it to another level. And in so doing, I was going to be a direct report to him with a reporting relationship with the board of directors. So that has been the seminal part of our program, is to have the commitment from the board and the CEO that compliance is an important component. And from there, I took about 90 days to assess what we had and to think about what we needed from that point on. And the essential, we have about 150 or so compliance professionals that report into me, and their charge is to help the business get right, essentially. And so we do risk assessments, we do compliance reviews, we work with the business to help them meet their compliance obligations. And in a company as complex as AT&T is today, we're a modern media company, and we now have technology, we have a media component and a telecommunications component. And so we're the TMT. And in that sense, it is about trying to put a program in place that handles all the complexities, rules, regulations, laws, and policies that go with that. A ton of internal policies, all designed to help us, meet our obligations under the law. Well, the purview of my organization is it takes in just about everything. Other than, SEC financial reporting, we handle just about everything there is that touches our business. And so we do risk profiles over the entire business, globally, worldwide. And those risk profiles then become kind of the hallmark of the foundation, if you will, of our program. And typically, they involve areas like third party, anti-bribery, anti-corruption, data protection, ethical culture. So those are the broad areas, but it's just about everything. Well, the first thing I had to think about when I took on this role is that I didn't want us to just do this as we had done it before, or in a traditional way, or where you had people walking around with clipboards checking to see if things were as they were supposed to be. And I told the board at the time that I wanted to use technology, I wanted to use data, I wanted to use emerging processes to get this job done. And the foundation of that is to let the business units know that we were here to help. So it's not, don't think of us in an adversarial way that we're here to try to catch you at anything, but think of us as we're here to help you do what you need to do. And so to do that, I think building in compliance into the fabric of providing a service or product, whatever it may be, is better than coming along after the fact saying, now that product is supposed to do X or Y or Z. Let's bolt on a way to ensure that that product does or is compliant with the law. Mm-hmm. And so it's really been a change to get the product developers to integrate a compliance component into it, so that now you can use technology, you can automate the compliance, you can build in access that allows us to see that this product or this service is working the way we think it's supposed to work. And it can be done in an independent way, so that I'm not just simply relying on somebody who tells me that this is supposed to be the way it is. The advice I would give to a new compliance officer, first and foremost, is to um, try to identify people who were in your role who do it the best. What are the best programs that are out there? And unfortunately, typically some of the best programs are programs where companies have stumbled. And because they've stumbled, they've put a lot of money into beefing up their programs. And so they have a lot of experience having overcome something. And I think that to be proactive, if I'm a new person coming in this role, I don't want to have to wait to get my hand burned. I'd rather talk to you and talk to you about the experiences that you encountered as a result of the burn, if so to speak. So I think it's important to reach out to those who have some of the best programs and just pick their brains. What should you be thinking about? What trends do they see? There isn't a one size that fits all. And you have to come at this based on your organization, your company, its profile, how they do business, what they do, how they are configured, the number of employees, how they're structured. All of those things come into the mix in terms of building a really good, strong compliance program. So I think the advice I would give is to spend a lot of time understanding your business objectives, where you intend to go, and then think about how do you build a program around those objectives. If I had started, my program continues to evolve, and I continue to seek out counsel from others in this space. We are moving to a place of trying to make sure that, especially when it comes to training and messaging, you want to predict and you want to have real-time training or just-in-time training so that employees can access this training and these messages when they need them the most. And I think that data is helping us do that. We are fortunate to have a PhD who has a behavioral psychology background, and I think that helps us in terms of identifying the kinds of data that we might need to predict if things are, when a rep might be making a bad decision, shall we say. Mm-hmm. And because we have we have over 170 million direct-to-consumer relationships out there, so that causes us to be really circumspect with respect to how we interact with those individuals. And so there's a lot of data in, for instance, how many contacts a rep would have in a day, and what types of things that rep might do and where they may need to go within our company. And so you take those data points, you watermark, and then in the event that rep goes someplace they shouldn't go, or maybe has more sales that seems to be anomalous for that person, I'm using data to say that may be a pain point, that may be a red flag. Let's look into what that person is doing. And so that's how data helps us be compliant with you, if you will, with sales integrity. The value of Ethisphere and Bella is the relationships with my peers. It's invaluable. It's invaluable as I think about and work through my daily issues, pick up the phone. I can call people. We trust each other. And we can talk freely, and I think it's important it makes us all better. We're not competitors in this sense, we're collaborators, and we're all trying to achieve the same thing. And remember, what works in my company may not work in somebody else's company, but I can benefit from the experiences that others have had. The additional thing I really appreciate from an Ethisphere standpoint is the research. I think a lot of times it's hard for some of our leaders to understand, well, why do we do this? Or why is culture so important? Or why do these Why? And when you can give certain data points, it's really powerful. And that's the beauty of what Ethisphere, Bella, what that brings to the table. It's identifying the right data points that you can use to effectively shore up what it is you do. Yes, AT&T Talks. That is something that we've introduced most recently, and it's something I'm particularly proud of because oftentimes we focus on the tone at the top, and we sometimes forget about how that tone translates throughout the organization. So the talks were designed to get mid-level managers up in front of our employee base talking about ethics in the context of the community, business, and technology. And you'll have people stand up and they'll say, here's why I think this is important. And it's terrific because these are people who use their own personal lives and experiences to demonstrate the value of ethics and integrity. So I'm particularly pleased with that. Our CEO, Randall Stevenson, he was really taken with several of the ones that I showed him. Resonated really well. I was in Mexico most recently, and we had someone who was from Argentina, and he got up in front of the group. He was on video, but we showed him to the group of leaders for all of Latin America and Mexico, and he told this story of bullying, and it was very compelling, and it was in Spanish. And it really resonated to the folks who were there, leaders who were there who spoke Spanish. And I think it's really the power of storytelling to make a difference. And so I'm particularly pleased about that as a new thing that we've introduced. And I would say it's nothing new, but I'm just proud of the fact that we're doing more personal training sessions, which is creating more of a dialogue. We've made more we've gone from that static, conflicts of interest, and then we do gifts and hospitality, and then we do, misconduct, those kinds of things. And instead, what we've done is we've woven them into a story, into a scenario. And the scenario, it's a fluid thing, and all the things that you can think of that you wanted to talk about, it hits on those elements, but it does it in a very natural way that's much more engaging than, quite frankly, doing it in the segment kind of way. Well, the first thing we'd like to do is really understand what that culture is. So, I like to say that I think I know what our culture is, but until we actually talk to our employees and see what they think, then you don't really know. And so we survey and we use focus groups to be sure that our culture is what we think it is. And we benchmark that against other companies, and so that's very helpful. But after you do that, it becomes a matter of making sure that culture permeates throughout the organization. And so we use, of course, the training is one area, but mostly it's putting tone messages and tools into the hands of our leaders so that they're the ones who get out and they speak about these things firsthand. It's more impactful when our leaders talk about integrity, when our leaders talk about doing things the right way, and they do it in the context of getting results. If they take a special session and say, today, folks, we're going to talk about integrity, no, it's happy talk. But if at the same time they're saying, this is what we need to do, this is what we need to drive EBIT, this is what we need to do. We need to drive EBITDA, we need to drive top line, we need to, get this or that. At the same time, that leader needs to say, and this is how you do it. We do it the right way. Then people believe that is the case. So it's giving leaders the tools so that they can communicate in effective ways with their employee base. I'm real proud of our CEO, Randall Stevenson. Yes, we pulled, we recently acquired Time Warner. We've renamed it Warner Media, and it's been a big undertaking. And so now, one of the things that he wanted to do, get out in front of, was what are our values, and what are the new values going to be? They had values, we had values, but what do our values look like? And he put a lot of thought into them, and he wanted the values to not be typical corporate speak. He wanted the values to resonate in a way that related to people. So the values are live true, do the right thing, no compromise. It's think big. It's embrace freedom. It's stand for equality. Pursue excellence. Those are the kinds of values that I think people can relate to and they embrace, and it starts with that. And so then we say, whatever it is you do, the first thing you ask yourself, is this in line and in tune with our values? Does it comport with the law? That's what we wanted people to get in this new combined company, so that those worlds intersect. Our worlds intersect when it comes to the values. And so we spent a lot of time doing that. Of course, it takes listening, but it's about making sure that we're all kind of on the same page. That's first and foremost. As we continue to bring our organizations together, that is the new media company with the legacy AT&T company that we have, the mission statement that we've come up with, I think, says it all, and that is to inspire human progress through the power of entertainment and communication. And in terms of how my organization fits into that, we say that our mission is to show the business units how the power of integrity is their competitive advantage.